Today's lesson is called Fat, Flightless, and Full of Charm. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Roger. And if you look at that title, it's probably very difficult to know exactly what we're going to talk about. Think of something that is fat, something that is flightless, but something that is full of charm. Maybe a dog is full of charm. It's friendly. It comes up to you. It likes to be pet. It loves attention and stuff like that. But yeah, what kind of flightless bird, for example, would be considered full of charm?
Gosh, maybe if we start reading today's article, we'll find out. And maybe we'll find out that this bird that's full of charm is from an exotic place way down under. And hint, I'm not talking about Australia. Anyways, folks, with that, let's go ahead and take a break. But when we come back, we'll get started on our lesson titled Fat, Flightless, and Full of Charm.
Fat, flightless, and full of charm. With soft green feathers that look almost like fur, a wide owl-like face, and a round, plump body, the kakapo is not your average parrot. Native to New Zealand, it is the only parrot in the world that is unable to fly. Instead, it uses its wings for balance as it climbs trees and hops around on the forest floor. Unable to flee into the sky, the kakapo defends itself against predators by freezing and pretending to be a small bush.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 plump 这个字是形容词，指丰满的、胖嘟嘟的。例如 I can't help pinching my nephew's plump cheeks because they're just too cute. 我忍不住去捏我侄子们胖嘟嘟的脸颊，因为实在太可爱了。另外，这个字也可以当动词，指变胖、变丰满、使变蓬松，像是 Jason plumped up after he stopped exercising. Jason 停止运动后就变胖了。接着我们看到动词 flee 意思是逃跑，例如 As the forest fire spread, people in the towns had to flee. 当森林大火蔓延时，镇上的人必须逃离，或是 The people of the village fled when they heard that a strong typhoon was coming. 那个村庄里的人听到有强烈台风来袭，纷纷逃走。另外补充一个相关片语 fly or leave or flee the nest 表示离开父母独立生活，像是 In North America, many people flee the nest after graduating from high school. 在北美地区，许多人高中毕业后就搬离家里自己生活。接下来我们看到单字 predator 这个字是名词，指猎食者、捕食性动物。例如 The polar bear is the largest predator in North America. 北极熊是北美最大型的食肉动物。或是 Make sure to keep an eye out for predators while you're camping. 你露营时必须要小心提防掠食动物。另外，这个字的字尾加上 y 就成了形容词 predatory， 指猎食性的。举例来说 Some predatory mammals, such as wolves, hunt in groups while bears hunt alone. 一些猎食性哺乳类动物，例如狼是群体狩猎，而熊则是单独狩猎。
Okay, let's dive into this. So if you've listened carefully to the first paragraph in today's lesson, you know that we are talking about a bird in New Zealand called the kakapo. That's friendly, it's charming, but it's also endangered.
Anyways, yes, it's the kakapo, and apparently the kakapo is a type of parrot. Okay, yeah. I like birds. Some people don't like birds. I know a couple of people who are deathly afraid of pigeons, but hey, parrots, they have personality, so very often they can be charming. By the way, parrots, very often, those are the birds that talk, or they speak in a way that, well, it sounds like they might be saying words even if they don't fully understand what they're saying. They might just be mimicking you by saying, "Rock, rock, hello, hello," something like that. Anyways, that's what a parrot is, and the kakapo is apparently an amazing type of parrot from New Zealand. Anyways, with soft green feathers that look almost like fur, a wide owl-like face, and a round, plump body. The kakapo is not your average parrot. So it's a parrot, so it might talk. And I'm putting quotes up in the air here, even though you can't see them. But yes, the kakapo, it doesn't look like your average parrot. It acts like one, but maybe it doesn't look like one.
Yeah, this is an interesting way to begin the article with these various features. The kakapo is not an average parrot. So because it has these features, because it has soft green feathers that are kind of like fur, and because it also has this wide face like an owl, and because it has a round, fat, plump body, therefore, it's not like an average parrot. Your average parrot does not have those features. And native to New Zealand, it is the only parrot in the world that is unable to fly. Interesting. So there's where we get the characteristic of flightless. It can't fly. All other parrots in the world can fly, but this one can't. And we also find out that this particular parrot is native to New Zealand. It's originally from there.
There you go. And yes, it's got a plump body. By the way, the word plump usually has a positive connotation to it, like a baby might be plump. It's not obese or super fat in a gross way. You might think, oh, look at those little cheeks, that plump little baby. Oh gosh, so cute. And here we're saying the same thing about this parrot. It's so cute. And by the way, this is the only parrot in the entire world that is unable to fly. Other parrots are birds of paradise for the most part. They live in jungles. If they were walking around on the forest floor, or the jungle floor, I should say, they'd get eaten up right away. So flying is kind of important. But apparently, the kakapo is able to survive while walking around the forest floors of New Zealand.
Right, we've got the word instead here. So because it can't fly, it uses its wings for another purpose. It can't fly, so instead it uses its wings to balance itself when it climbs trees or when it walks on the forest floor. Otherwise, it would fall down. And unable to flee into the sky, the kakapo defends itself against predators by freezing and pretending to be a small bush. Or maybe they are just simply playing dead like some animals do. They pretend that they have died so that the predator will leave them alone. So yeah, when you're being stalked by a predator, when somebody's trying to get you and kill you and eat you, then what you want to do is flee. You want to run away. You want to escape.
There you go. And all of this is sounding extremely cute. So I get where the charm is coming from here. So the kakapo defends itself by freezing, and then it pretends to be a plant, a small bush. By the way, a bush is kind of like a tree that never quite got there, okay? It's kind of like the top of a tree without a trunk like a tree does. Just the leaves. Lots of leaves there, and maybe some flowers as well. By the way, a predator is what eats other animals.
Exactly. Owls are predators. They try to attack and kill rats all the time. That's why if you have owls around, you probably won't have a lot of rats. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. It's time now to move on to the second part.
This strategy worked brilliantly when the kakapo's only predators were birds of prey gliding high above the trees, as had been the case for many thousands of years. This all changed, however, with the arrival of humans. Having evolved without any land predators, kakapos didn't fear people. Kakapos are extraordinarily friendly and have been known to climb all over people, sit on their shoulders, and groom their hair. Indeed, the kakapo's behavior is more like that of a dog than that of a wild bird. So much so that kakapos were often kept as pets as well as hunted.
第二部分我们看到动词 glide 指滑翔、滑行，像是 The swan glided across the lake to the place where people feed it. 这只天鹅划过湖面到人们喂它的地方，或是 The dancers glided across the stage and bowed. 舞者们翩然穿过舞台，然后鞠躬致意。再来，我们看到单字 groom， 这个字是动词，指梳理、刷洗动物。我们可以说 Barry should put more time into grooming himself. Barry 应该多花点时间打理自己。或是 Horses have to be groomed regularly to keep their coats in good shape. 马匹需要定期刷洗，好让它们的皮毛维持健康。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还有以下几种用法。第一，当动词还可以指培养、训练、做好准备。举例来说 Dan's father groomed him for a job in his law firm. Dan 的父亲让他在自己的法律事务所工作做培训。第二，这个字也可以当名词，意思是新郎，像是 The bride and the groom cut the wedding cake together. 新娘和新郎一起切结婚蛋糕。
Okay, so when the kakapo feels threatened, okay, it defends itself or it keeps itself safe by freezing and pretending to be a small bush, which is hilarious. And get this strategy worked brilliantly when the kakapo's only predators were birds of prey gliding high above the trees, as had been the case for many thousands of years. So, the only thing that was eating the kakapo were birds of prey. So when they acted like bushes, no big deal. This worked for them. The birds of prey wouldn't eat them. But that only worked then. Then things changed. By the way, here we've got this term birds of prey. Before the break, Roger mentioned owls. Yes, owls are predatory birds. They are birds of prey, as are hawks, I believe, and eagles and falcons and stuff like that. Birds of prey. Predators eat prey. Prey here, P-R-E-Y. That word refers to animals that get eaten by predators.
And when you're gliding, you're just kind of moving through the air, or maybe you're just going downhill, but you're not really flapping your wings, or you're not really putting your foot on the accelerator of your car. You're just using gravity or wind or whatever to move without any effort. So the birds kind of fly up there, and then they just kind of glide through the air. That's a common sight here in Taiwan when you see the crested serpent eagle, the Dagwanjiu. They will be gliding high up in the air, and they'll be gliding up there kind of too high to really see what's on the ground, except I think they can see snakes pretty easily, this particular species. But the birds of prey in New Zealand were probably fooled by the kakapo when it froze and pretended to be a small bush. The birds probably bought it. And that's how it was for thousands of years. The kakapos were surviving okay because they could freeze and the birds of prey wouldn't see them, and they were able to live full and complete lives.
There you go, but that was then, this is now. And when I say this is now, I mean, well, one day humans arrived. So this situation all changed, however, with the arrival of humans. Having evolved without any land predators, remember their only predators were up in the sky there, those birds of prey, kakapos didn't fear people. They had no problem with people. They weren't scared of them. They evolved without people around or any land predators. So, kakapos are extraordinarily friendly and have been known to climb all over people, sit on their shoulders, and groom their hair. So there you go. That makes them pretty easy to hunt, I would say. They are extraordinarily friendly.
They are, and that's where their charm comes from. They are extraordinarily friendly. Some people say extraordinarily. That pronunciation is correct, but it's not as common. Extraordinary is the more common pronunciation. Extraordinarily, of course, would be pronounced in the adverb form, like I just said there. So they were especially friendly. They were very friendly, extremely friendly, and they have have been known to climb all over people. They sit on their shoulders and groom their hair. They groom people's hair, not their own hair, but people's hair, like my cat used to do. When I went to bed, the cat would sleep on the pillow and the cat would start licking my hair. I think it was doing that out of instinct or something, but I considered my cat to be quite charming as a result of that.
There you go. It was giving you a cleanup there, a scalp cleanup. It was cleaning your hair, grooming your hair, maybe eating some bugs or some lice or whatever might have been in your hair there. Just joking. There are no lice or bugs in your hair, but in the wild there, maybe if there were ticks or bugs or lice in your hair, a bird like the kakapo might be able to groom your hair for you, eat those things out of your hair, and clean your hair for you, groom your hair. Indeed, the kakapo's behavior, it says next, is more like that of a dog than that of a wild bird, so much so that kakapos were often kept as pets as well as hunted. Interesting. Anyways, your behavior is the way you act. So here, the kakapo's behavior, it says here, the way it acted. It wasn't like that of a bird, or a bird in the wild, I should say. It acted more like a dog. Hence, they made for good pets. Anyways, folks, with that, let's go ahead and take a short break. But when we come back, we'll wrap up the first part of our article on the kakapo.
And hunted they were. The Maori, New Zealand's original settlers who arrived there around 700 years ago, regularly killed the birds for their rich meat and beautiful green feathers.
最后第三部分，我们看到名词 settler 指定居者、殖民者、移民。举例来说 ，The settlers came to the new land after a 2-month sea voyage. 经过2个月的海上航行，这些殖民者来到了新的土地。
And so here we begin the final part by saying, and hunted they were. We did mention before that they were hunted, and hunted they were. You want to emphasize the fact that they were hunted. For example, with this pattern, I could say, I think my friend Tom is a genius, and a genius he is. That's when you actually state the obvious, that this person is a genius, or here you're stating that this bird was hunted, or at least these birds were hunted, they were killed. The Maori, New Zealand's original settlers who arrived there around 700 years ago, regularly killed the birds for their rich meat and beautiful green feathers. If you're a settler, that means you move into an area where there really isn't any people there and you just start living there.
There you go. You settle the area and you live in that place. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to say bye-bye, but don't worry, don't fret. The Chinese teacher is waiting in the wings.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第2部分的最后一句写道 Indeed, the kakapo's behavior is more like that of a dog than that of a wild bird, so much so that kakapos were often kept as pets as well as hunted. 确实，枭鹦鹉的行为更像狗，而比较不像野鸟，以至于枭鹦鹉常被当成宠物来养和遭到猎捕。那这边有3个重点，第一个是 more like A than B， 是指说比较像 A 而不像 B。那这是在进行自身比较的比较级。句型里面的 A 和 B 必须是相同可以进行比较的事物，像文中它分别用到 that of a dog 和 that of a wild bird， 其中的 that 是用来代指前面提过的 behavior， 所以呢 more like that of a dog than that of a wild bird 是表示说比较像狗的行为而不像野鸟的行为。好，那我们来造个例句。 The building looks more like an art museum than a library。 那栋建筑物看起来比较像是美术馆而不像是图书馆。第2个重点是 so much so 加上 that 子句，这是表达说到了某种程度以至于怎么样怎么样。那这个句型是用来强调前面所叙述的情况程度如此的高，以至于有某种结果。那么在使用的时候呢，通常会用逗号跟主要子句隔开。举例来说 The internet is full of false information and fake news, so much so that it's difficult to separate fact from fiction. 网络上充斥着不实讯息和假新闻，多到让人难以区分事实和虚构。好，第三个补充的是 as well as 的意思及用法。首先，我们可以用as well as 来当连接词，去连接词性相同的字词，表达也怎么样，以及或者是而且的意思。像课文就是用 as well as 来连接 kept as pets 和 hunted 来表达说被当成宠物养，以及遭到猎捕。好，那我们来造个例句。He is good at baseball as well as basketball. 他对棒球以及篮球都很擅长。那要特别注意的是，如果我们用 as well as 来连接主词，这时候它的动词必须配合 as well as 前方的名词哦。举例来说 Nina, as well as her husband and children, is coming over for dinner tonight.Nina 以及她的老公和孩子们今晚会过来吃晚餐。这听起来有很多人都要来吃晚餐嘛，可是这个句子是在强调 as well as 前方的主词 Nina， 所以 be 动词就是配合它，所以是用 is。好，再来呢 as well as 它也可以当介系词来用，这时候意思就相当于 besides 或是 in addition to， 用来表达除了什么什么之外还怎么样，还有什么什么。那么后面是接名词或动名词，例如As well as being a chef, he is also a famous YouTuber. 他除了是一名主厨，还是一名知名的 YouTuber. 好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单词吧。
Flee. The war caused many families to flee into neighboring countries. Defend. The elephant defended its child against the hungry lioness. Predator.Octopuses can change their shape and color to hide from predators. Prey. Some animals, such as lions and wolves, work together to hunt their prey. Extraordinarily. Ernest has worked extraordinarily hard to get to where he is today. Behavior. Wilbur is traveling to Antarctica to study the behavior of wild penguins. Settler. Early settlers had to put up with extremely difficult living
conditions.Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.